During a congressional hearing on the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, Hillary Clinton testified about what she knew regarding her husband Bill Clinton's connection to Epstein. The questioning, led by Representative Scott Perry, focused on whether Clinton discussed Epstein with family members, whether she saw photos of her husband with young women on Epstein's plane, and what questions, if any, those images raised for her. Clinton's attorneys objected to multiple questions as irrelevant to the committee's legislative purpose and invoked concerns about spousal privilege. Clinton herself declined to discuss conversations with her husband or daughter, characterizing such inquiries as inappropriate for a congressional hearing focused on investigating Epstein's crimes and prosecutorial failures. The exchange revealed tensions between congressional oversight authority and personal privacy boundaries, as representatives pressed for details about family conversations, while Clinton and her counsel argued such matters had no bearing on the committee's mandate to investigate law enforcement's handling of the Epstein case. Watch how the questioning began.
Madam Secretary, once it was revealed publicly that you and President Clinton were connected, I'm going to use that term, to Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, did you discuss the subject with your daughter?
I'm, not going to, talk about what I did or didn't discuss with family members, but I can tell you that it was something that was of grave concern to us.
I imagine it was, and I know that look, I think we could probably get a long way here if we could discuss or have a view into your discussion with your husband. I suspect you're going to object to that.
You're right, Congressman. Thank you for
but it seems like these are reasonable questions. Did your daughter discuss it with you?
Well, we were horrified by what was later...
Horrified in what way? We were all horrified of what we learned about Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, the victims.
Right.
But
right.
Did you discuss with your daughter, when you say you were horrified, the connection with her father and this Epstein episode?
My husband's connection with Jeffrey Epstein began and ended before he was charged with any crime.
I get that, but
And so in retrospect, we all say, oh my gosh, that was like horrific. And why didn't more people know? And why didn't more people speak out at the time? But I think the chronology is critically important. If we were talking about post-crime, that there was a continuing connection with him, that would be unacceptable.
Right.
But it ended before he was charged.
I understand that, which is why I particularly said once it was revealed publicly. I get that continuing to be involved with someone like that after it was knowledgeable to everyone would be almost an unforgivable sin. However, I'm married too, not as long as you, ma'am, but there would be questions in my family. Even if it went back before we were married, there would be questions. And I
don't interrupt you, but I don't understand the question.
So my question is, did your daughter discuss it with you? That was my particular question.
I think I can't recollect any specific conversation, but of course we discussed the horrific crimes that he was accused of.
But nothing about her father's connection to it.
Her father's connection began and ended.
Okay.
Before he was charged with crimes.
Did your daughter ever mention to you that she discussed this matter with her father?
I don't recollect that.
Did you see the photos of your husband with young girls related to Jeffrey Epstein?
I saw the few photos that my lawyers showed me.
Did you also see the photos of your husband with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell?
I have seen such photos.
They're out there, right?
Yes.
I imagine you're familiar, but I just want to make sure. Since seeing these photos, have any questions about the content, locations, general circumstances come to your mind?
No, it was unfortunate that he ever, did anything with Jeffrey Epstein.
But there was no curiosity.
Excuse me, are you asking for an opinion, or is there a fact that she can share with you that would be helpful?
Well, I did say, were there any questions? So if I saw, I'll give you an example. If I saw a picture with my wife, it's just really hard to be relevant. If my wife saw pictures with me as a grown man hanging out with obviously or close to underage women, regardless if it was before we were married or not, it would be a question. And so what I'm asking you is, did any questions regarding those photographs come to your mind?
I am going to, just as clearly as I can state, say I don't see the relevance of your question, and I am not going to talk about conversations that I had with my family, especially my husband.
And for clarity, are you all asserting spousal privilege?
For clarity, we were looking for the relevance of her conversations with her husband and what she might have thought about her conversations with the husband. How does that help further the legislative purpose of this committee as they investigate the prosecution and investigations of Jeffrey Epstein?
I think Mr. Perry's questions directly relate
To her daughter?
To what,
her
my state
husband?
of mind?
Her state of mind?
What possible relevance does my state of mind have to your investigation?
I believe Mr. Perry's questions, and Mr. Perry can step in if he would like, are directly related to her relationships
With her husband?
with Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, and her opinions as it relates to
She's
relationships.
not opinions.
I am not here to give opinions. I'm here to answer factual questions, and I have answered
Okay.
for many hours now that I had no relationship because I never met the guy to my best recollection.
Representative Perry's line of questioning focused on whether Hillary Clinton discussed Jeffrey Epstein with her daughter, Chelsea Clinton, and whether seeing photos of Bill Clinton with young women raised questions for Hillary Clinton. The representative's premise appeared to be that such conversations or concerns would be natural in a marriage and might reveal relevant information about what the Clintons knew or when they knew it. Clinton's attorneys and Clinton herself objected to this line of questioning on relevance grounds. Her attorney asked, "How does that help further the legislative purpose of this committee as they investigate the prosecution and investigations of Jeffrey Epstein?" This represents a standard objection in congressional hearings that questions must relate to the committee's legislative mandate rather than serve as general inquiry into personal matters. The question of spousal privilege arose during the exchange. Spousal privilege in legal proceedings generally comes in two forms: testimonial privilege, the right to refuse to testify against a spouse, and confidential marital communications privilege, protection for private communications between spouses. However, in congressional hearings, these privileges operate differently than in criminal proceedings and can be contested. Clinton's statement that she saw "the few photos that my lawyers showed me" of her husband with young women suggests her legal team controlled which images she reviewed, a standard practice in preparing witnesses for testimony. Clinton confirmed she has seen photos of Bill Clinton with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, stating they're out there, acknowledging their public availability. Bill Clinton's connection to Epstein is documented through multiple sources. Clinton flew on Epstein's private plane on multiple occasions in the early 2000s, which has been confirmed through flight logs and Clinton's own representatives. The Clinton camp has stated these trips were related to Clinton Foundation work and that Clinton had limited contact with Epstein. Clinton's repeated emphasis on chronology, that Bill Clinton's connection with Jeffrey Epstein began and ended before he was charged with crimes, represents her key factual defense. Epstein was first charged in 2006 in Florida and reached a controversial non-prosecution agreement in 2008. He was arrested again in 2019 on federal sex trafficking charges and died in custody. If Bill Clinton's interactions with Epstein ceased before 2006, Clinton's argument is that her husband could not have known about criminal charges that had not yet been filed. Representative Perry's comparison to his own marriage, suggesting he would have questions if his wife saw such photos, represents his personal perspective on what constitutes normal spousal communication. Clinton declined to engage with this framing, maintaining that her personal reactions and family conversations are not relevant to the committee's legislative purpose. Watch how the questioning continued with more specific inquiries about photographs and flight logs.
You're still married, Madam Secretary, still married. Okay. Can you identify the man in these photos?
I can't see them across the table.
Let me get a little closer.
So just for the record, you would like her to identify pictures of her spouse? You need her here to testify on pictures of her spouse?
The 42nd President of the United States of America, that is my husband.
Okay,
Yes.
how about the location?
I have no knowledge of the location. I have no context for the location. I know nothing about the location.
If you were informed that that's on Mr. Epstein's plane that
Do you like her to speculate based on your
No,
informing of that?
ma'am, if you'd let me ask the question. If you were informed that was on Mr. Epstein's plane that is known to have frequented not only the island, but other locations where sexual abuse, horrific sexual abuse occurred. Would you have any questions about those photos and who's in them?
Objection, calls for speculation, states facts not in evidence. I'm not instructing you not to answer.
Well, no, I'm not going to speculate. I'm
Okay.
not going to.
Do you know the names of any of the young girls in those photos with
Whose
your
faces
husband?
are blacked out, Congressman, correct?
I understand that. But the photos are out there.
But are you saying she should be able to know who individuals
No, I think
are
what
that
I'm
they're-
saying is that
the photos are blacked
what
out?
I'm saying is that in a normal relationship, you would probably ask the person that you're sleeping with who that person in the photo is.
There were so many things, Dave, but I would just like that to stay. I'd like that to stay on the record. Thank
A
you.
question in which you could give a factual answer.
It would be helpful.
Are you aware of a single misstatement of fact from any person who you know or believe to be an Epstein victim?
I am got no knowledge of all the statements of fact that
So at this point, the answer would be no.
I don't know. I have no way of
Please
knowing.
don't mischaracterize her statements.
Are you aware that your husband's name is noted multiple times in the Jeffrey Epstein flight logs?
I think everyone knows that he flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, as did many other people, including Donald Trump.
Understood. I don't know about that last one, but did you ever discuss that fact with anyone or any organization, that your husband's name appeared on the flight logs?
I don't recall. I mean, I've talked about it with my lawyers and others assisting in my preparation, but I can't recall specifics.
Are you aware of trips made by your husband on Jeffrey Epstein's numerous helicopters, whether piloted by Ghislaine Maxwell or anyone else?
Objection, states facts not in evidence.
I've never heard that.
Are you aware of the allegation?
No, I was not.
The allegation does exist in the record. Is that something you're curious about, Madam
I
Secretary?
have no awareness of it.
The hearing exchange revealed the boundaries between Congressional Oversight Authority and personal privacy. Representative Perry's questions sought to establish whether Hillary Clinton had concerns about or knowledge of Bill Clinton's interactions with Epstein through family conversations or reactions to photographic evidence. Clinton and her attorneys maintain that such personal matters are not relevant to the committee's legislative mandate to investigate prosecutorial failures in the Epstein case. Clinton's acknowledgement that Bill Clinton's name appears in Epstein's flight logs, I think everyone knows that he flew on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, confirms publicly available documentation. Flight logs showing Bill Clinton as a passenger on Epstein's plane have been released and reported by multiple outlets. Clinton noted that many other people, including Donald Trump, also flew on the plane, pointing to the broader social connections Epstein maintained with prominent figures. Clinton stated she was not aware of allegations about Bill Clinton using Epstein's helicopters, some of which Ghislaine Maxwell reportedly piloted. Whether such trips occurred represents a factual question that could be investigated through flight records and witness testimony. The exchange demonstrated tensions inherent in congressional investigations. Committees have broad authority to investigate matters within their jurisdiction, but witnesses, especially regarding personal family conversations, can challenge the relevance of questions to legislative purposes. What remains unresolved from this testimony is what conversations, if any, occurred within the Clinton family about Bill Clinton's association with Epstein, and whether Hillary Clinton had concerns that she declined to share with the committee or genuinely had no such concerns based on her husband's explanation that his interactions with Epstein predated any criminal charges. Congressional hearings like this one reveal how oversight works and doesn't work when investigating powerful figures. If you believe transparency in government matters, if you think the public deserves to see these exchanges unfiltered, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. We cover the hearings, testimonies, and investigations that shape accountability in Washington. Your support helps us continue bringing you this coverage.